Hi, my name is Tangi Veloso Pueblos. I am the founder of a group based in LA called the Family Love Village, also known as FLV. FLV is a community where like-minded families and caregivers support and educate ourselves on the heart principles of conscious parenting. Our mission is to connect and support families and caregivers through information and resources that allow us to develop our main focus on a gently guided approach to communicating with our children, as well as the ability to make natural, holistic, and eco-friendly decisions. Our community consists of villagers of all backgrounds, race, sex, religion, spirituality, and socioeconomics. Our ultimate vision is to birth a conscious movement by co-creating villages globally in order to build a sustainable world that not only our families, children, and caregivers can presently benefit from, but for future generations to come. This sounds really nice and dandy and all, but what does this exactly mean? And what's it going to take for our village to get there? What this means is that our village, the villagers, are willing to take a stand, willing to rise above traditional parenting. Traditional parenting as in fear-based coercive parenting. You better do all your chores and homework or no TV. Traditional parenting as in bribes and rewards. If you eat all your veggies, you can have that cookie. Or how about the infamous two words that get said so often that it almost becomes automatic and genuine and authentic? The good job. Which, if you think about it, creates this relationship for our children with wanting to look outside of themselves to get approval from their parents and teachers, instead of looking from within, wanting to do things for themselves, for their own approval, for the sake of themselves, making them feel good inside. FLV prefers to move away from this form of parenting. We strive to learn about various tools that create connection instead of coercion, love instead of fear, as Pam Leo so wonderfully describes in her book called Connection Parenting. A great example of how connection can create a strong bond between a parent and child is a wonderful story that one of the village mamas told me recently. About a few weeks ago, her and her 2-year-old daughter wanted to make homemade Play-Doh. So they went to the store to get all the ingredients, and one of the main ingredients is flour. And as they're walking down the aisle, of course, what does the daughter see? She sees all these rows and rows of cookies and donuts and all these sweets brightly packaged in cartoon characters like Blue's Clues and Dora Explorer. You know, the deceptive marketing that these companies do to reel our children in. So, of course, naturally, she looks at all the boxes and gets all excited. And she's like, "Ooh, I want that one, and I want this one, and I want that one." And she grabs all the boxes. And instead of her mom saying, "No, you can't have that," or "Put those back," what my wonderful friend did is she got down to her daughter's level. She made sure that she had eye contact. And she said, "You know, I get that you really like these boxes, and they look really fun and have all these cool characters on them. And they look so bright and pretty and have all these colorful and shiny pictures on the outside. But what's on the inside is all this sugar and icky stuff that's really not healthy for our bodies." And what happened next shocked my friend. Her 2-year-old daughter looked at the boxes, thought about it for a moment, and then put them back. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is what inspires me and ignites such passion around finding other ways, other possibilities to communicate with our children and partner with our children consciously, instead of being authoritative and bullying, which makes you wonder where bullying stems from, right? And I'm not saying that it's always going to pan out the way it did for my friend. fact that she took the time to connect and explain why it wasn't good for her, instead of just saying, because I said so, really made such the difference in their experience in that moment, and for the rest of their day, as a matter of fact. What FLV is creating here is a movement, a conscious parenting movement. FLV is devoted in building communal support, villages where we can model to our children about self-love and unconditional love for all living things on the planet. We do this by having monthly potluck gatherings with amazing guest speakers that share their wisdom on tools on how to create that connection with our children. Eco-friendly advocates that teach us about sustainable living, as well as practitioners that enlighten us on holistic wellness. We do this by having programs that serve the bigger community, like our Playdates for a Cause, or our EAK program, which stands for Eco Art Kids Collective, where we collect the items from our homes, and instead of throwing in the garbage and going into the landfills and the oceans, we create fun, interactive art projects for the families to bring awareness about being green versus buying into consumerism and getting that next shiny plastic toy. Our main mission with the EAT program is actually to partner with companies and businesses and restaurants and schools and even big corporations, especially big corporations, so that we can enlighten them on this vision of, instead of throwing things in the landfills and the oceans, give it to us, donate your junk to us. Unfortunately, right now, the government and big corporations are making some terrible decisions, from Monsanto to chemtrails to still approving mercury and formaldehyde in our vaccinations, to still getting away with having lead and other toxins in our children's toys and products, to mass producing plastic in everything. I mean, think about it. When you go to a store, practically everything is wrapped in plastic, which, by the way, is made from fossilized fuel that does not biodegrade. I mean, the list goes on and on. But my question to you is, how did we get to this point? How did these once sweet, loving children grow up into fear-based adults with power, hatred, and greed? A big part of it, I feel, stems from their childhood, from the recycled patterns of parenting that most of us grew up in. And I'm not saying everyone grew up in this fear-based, coercive environment, but for the most part, a lot of us did. Perhaps some more than others. You know, parenting is very challenging. And for many generations, there were none or very few resources and tools that taught us about conscious parenting. So our parents and our grandparents only knew what they knew. But now we have so many wonderful resources, such as Pan Leo from Connection Parenting, Alfie Cohen from Unconditional Parenting, which, by the way, I met him recently. It was amazing. And Ruth Beaglehole from the Echo Parenting and Education. She was an amazing guest speaker for the Family Love Village as well. And Patty Whiffler from Hand in Hand Parenting. We had some amazing guest speakers from that organization as well that came and spoke for our organization. These are just a few of the organizations out there that help us to create that connection and create that consciousness with our children. I mean, we've got books, we've got DVDs, we've got teleseminars, we've got the internet. So the time is now to come together and bring that awareness about these tools and resources. You know, not too long ago I came across a phrase that really stuck to me. And that's, we're not raising children here. We're raising adults. Yes, children are our future, but it is within the present moment that conscious transformation needs to occur in order for us to give birth to a future that thrives. It's the survival of the fittest old way of thinking that has stumped our growth. We need a conscious collective to shift us into a new thought, a new mode, one that evolves us towards uniting all living things. Yes, it truly does take a village to raise a child. Unfortunately, in our modern society, not that many families get that opportunity to experience many members of a village to get that support. Parenting can get very challenging. Add siblings or other family members to take care of, not to mention getting our own needs met, and it can get a little overwhelming. Actually, it can get a lot overwhelming, as I'm sure a lot of you parents out there can relate. We here at the Family Love Village are committed to creating villages globally, around the world, to help give that support to families and caregivers that prefer the gentle guidance and eco-holistic approach. We strongly encourage and believe in creating that connection and that strong bond with our children and ourselves by educating ourselves and living by example through positive, loving, and conscious resources. By doing this, we can help to create a loving and conscious future, not just for our children and children's children and their children's children, but for all living things on planet Earth. But this vision can only exist if we create it now. We need to begin by modeling a tender, holistic, and sustainable environment for our children to thrive in. As Gandhi said, we need to be the change we wish to see in the world. And FLV is committed to being a big part of that change, connecting one conscious village at a time. Thank you.